Let me tell you something. Actors don't rap. Rappers don't sing. Rappers don't come from Canada. Where the f*** is Canada? I'm supposed to believe in this light-skinned, R&B face, crying on every song. Does he even write his own songs? I promise you, this is never gonna work. This is never gonna last. Even if he had a cosign, even if Lil Wayne co-signed, it doesn't even matter. Okay, best I ever had was a cute one, but he needs another one. Nah, another one. Nah, that. You know what? Okay, he did it, but can he do it again? No, again. No, again. No, again. You know what? He's just a lucky guy.
I remember the exact moment. I'm in the car with a girl, best I ever had, came on the radio. She never heard of Drake before. I had. I've been on DatPiff downloading his mixtapes way before the radio ever touched them. But watching her hear it for the first time, seeing how quickly she felt it, that's when I understood what he actually built. This wasn't just music for people who follow mixtapes. This was music that could walk into a room full of strangers and make people feel it. That's not rap, that's architecture. And from that moment, everything I thought about music started to quietly shift.
This is where I sit and sometimes write. And actually, we missed a very important thing. I write songs, and that's what I like. I do music. These are full from front to back of just songs, pages and pages of lyrics and ideas. Something that I'll probably never use, but I mean, because they're old, I just like to keep them around for nostalgia purposes.
Yeah, we so far gone. This is 2009, and my nigga Drake just finished his third mixtape. Drake, tell them people what you gotta tell them about them this. Tell them a little bit about this mixtape. Tell them what they gonna be getting out of this one. Tell them.
Man, look, all I can say is, it's a body of work, man. It's a body of work to listen to and appreciate and get lost in, you know. So I just hope you enjoy it. That's all I can say, man.
Before Drake really blew up, everybody thought I was going to be a DJ. I knew how to play guitar. I had the ear. I was always the one who knew what was coming before it hit the radio. Everybody be asking, hey, Sonny, can you make me a CD? Mixtape era, DatPiff, hot new hip-hop, websites like those back in the day. I was deep in that world before most people around me. I remember seeing Comeback Season on one of those websites. Drake's wearing a double-breasted peacoat, and I used to rock that all the time. And I was like, oh, let me check it out. Who's this? And I remember thinking, this isn't just a rapper. Something about the production felt different. The feeling was different. I couldn't explain it at the time, but I felt it. Before that era, I was making beats that sounded like rock and roll mixed with hip-hop or boom bap. That was what I thought producers were supposed to sound like. Then I heard So Far Gone, and something shifted. Space, melody, emotion, things I wasn't prioritizing when I was hitting the pads. And I didn't realize it yet, but I was already changing.
Publishing credits right this year. I'm actually writing for Rihanna right now.
Drink it straight up.
Here's what Drake figured out before almost everybody else. Women drive music culture. That sounds simple, but nobody in mainstream rap was operating like that. Rap before Drake was mostly about male validation, aggression, toughness. Emotional vulnerability was considered weakness. That was the rule. Besides a select few, Drake made being emotional commercially dominant. He proved that rapping and singing could coexist on the same record, that emotional songs had replay value that hard songs couldn't touch, that if a woman could feel something deeply in a song, she'd play it on repeat and bring 5 other people to it. And once the industry saw what that did to streams and sales, everybody followed. Artists adapted. The whole sound of rap permanently shifted to match the emotional world Drake normalized.
I've always wanted to be that from my city, and to watch like Kendrick. You know what I'm saying? I'm from LA.
Right.
So wanting to be one of those people that were like, you know, just to watch somebody who's really fucking doing it. That shit is so ill. That's why I appreciate it so much. Did you see? You've been around, like you've been actually watching, so you've seen who this motherfucker has brought on stage tonight. Do you realize? Never mind. I'm not. Never mind me. I'm talking about fucking Kanye West. I'm talking about Puffy and Mace. Woo, when was the last time you saw? That shit was a fucking like.
That shit was a movie.
Oh my god.
And the 2000s out.
Yo, me and Wale were literally like, yo, I can't wait to see fucking Puffy and Mace. These motherfuckers are gonna kill. It came out and
And they did the back-to-back.
The Drake stimulus package was real. Artists were lining up for a feature because they knew what it meant. Overnight visibility, chart positions, cultural relevance, careers that were completely flat. Then Drake gets on a record, and suddenly that artist is everywhere. That's not just a feature. That's a career investment. And everybody in the industry understood exactly what it was worth. And as artists got more emotional and melodic, producers had to follow. You couldn't bring a hard snapping beat to a Drake-influenced session in 2012. They wanted atmosphere, reverb, space, slower pockets, emotional chord progressions, samples that already had feelings before you even flipped them. The entire production landscape shifted to match the emotional world Drake normalized. And most producers didn't even realize they were following a blueprint that had already been written. But here's the part that nobody really talks about. Everybody wanted Drake on their song until they realized what actually came with it.
Man, it's really setting me on a new path, and you know, especially at the turn of the decade, it's almost perfect timing.
You live here, but you've been living on the charts for like the last 10 years, man.
That's what we want to say. I mean, the main thing is to everybody, man. You're the artist of the 10s.
Yes.
This is your decade. It's a decade of dominance.
Facts.
I just feel like that needs to be said. Like I feel like a lot of times it's not. I mean, there was some statistic came out about like 400 weeks or something. You was in the top 10 or whatever it was, and then if you didn't count Sicko Mode where you weren't credited, it's really 500. Like, that's insane.
Which,
like,
by the way, I don't know why I wasn't credited.
That wasn't your choice?
I don't know who finessed that play. Nah.
But obviously you know what you're doing, but then to just see that like really written down and see those type of stats, like that's got to even impress yourself, right? Like to see that what you've been able to accomplish in these last 10 years.
The artists everyone needed and feared. Artists wanted the feature, they wanted the exposure, the stimulus package effect, what Drake's presence could do to a career overnight. But they also feared being overshadowed on their own record, getting subbed in the verses, losing their lane to constant comparisons, becoming culturally irrelevant because Drake did the sound better than you could. Drake became the cosign everyone was chasing and the standard nobody wanted to be measured against.
Yeah, I mean, usually when people start to put it in your face, when it's one of these moments like the turn of a decade or something, is when you really start to sort of see it more and realize it. I never let myself get too invested in the lows or the highs. That's kind of how I stay focused. But yeah, no, it's incredible. One of my friends sent me a video the other day, and it was just like all the top numbers from the last 10 years, and the people. I don't know if you saw that video where all the artists start moving and taking over different spots, and that was pretty crazy because it was like for the whole like last 2 minutes of that video, I was just sitting up there, you know, with the exception of like getting, you know, flipped out with like PS Psy. Remember that song? Gangnam Style. Yeah. So it's like, nah, it's great, man. It's you know, it's everything I always wanted. It's what I work tirelessly for and relentlessly, you know, just constantly trying to, you know, create, stay refreshing, stay consistent, you know, learning the right amount of time to take off, but, you know, so, yeah, but now it's over, so it's just time to go again, you
But
know.
10 years ago, did you ever anticipate having a run like this?
I think I had things in my mind that I wanted to accomplish. I think I had the utmost faith in myself and a lot of confidence in myself. I don't necessarily know if I ever saw it going like this far, but also, you know, as you receive things in life, money, blessings, whatever, your appetite begins to grow, right? So it's like if I give you $1 million tomorrow, you're gonna learn what it's like to have $1 million, and then you're gonna start being around people that have $10 million or $100 million. You're gonna learn that there's other things that you can't get with $1 million. Right. So, you know, your appetite grows, and I think the initial visions that I had for myself just kind of manifested it.
Every melodic rapper, every emotional trap artist, every single rapper, singer, hybrid that came up, they all had to answer the same question. Are you doing this because it's genuinely you, or because Drake made it the dominant sound, and that is what the industry rewarded? That's the pressure. That's the weight of what he built. He didn't just dominate rap. He set the terms of what rap was supposed to be. And everybody else had to figure out where they stood in relation to that. Most people know Drake. Almost nobody talks about the people who built what his voice sat on. And that's the part that matters most if you actually make music. Noah Shebib, 40, the architect. The man who built the atmospheric sound that an entire generation of producers absorbed without ever knowing his name. The reverb, the space, the fog that sits over every Take Care record. That's 40. He didn't just produce Drake's albums. He built an entirely new sonic world for Drake to exist inside of. And once that world existed, every producer who wanted to make emotional rap music was working inside a blueprint that 40 wrote.
Someone made a Michael Jackson comparison the other day.
Bun B.
Yeah, Bun B. Yeah. Compared to someone else even of stature and significance too. Like a few people have been making that comparison. Snoop or someone, like somebody like that too. Not only Bun, someone else did it. But I don't know, man. I don't even know if Michael had as long of a run in the place that Drake's been. Like, Michael almost had peaks and valleys to his career, I feel like, where Drake has just gone like this. And we haven't stopped or, like, plateaued. So I think until there's some sort of, like, I don't know, man. I don't know. I can't tell you what might happen.
Where do you think this stops?
I don't know if it ever stops. I mean, it has to stop at some point.
I mean, whether or not it's because he doesn't land a number one on an album, or it doesn't stay number one long enough.
I mean, how old is Jay-Z? Jay-Z's 50 right now? He's 50, right?
And 444 was good.
Okay, so we're going past that.
So you don't think this ever ends?
I think Drake is smart enough and good enough of an artist that he will transition himself as a person, as an artist, fluidly and seamlessly into whatever he's supposed to be next, so that when he's in his 60s and going into his early 70s, he can still be one of the biggest, most relevant musicians in the world because he figured out how to do that.
When you hear him talk about that, that's not just an engineer describing a session. That's someone explaining the music that they made together is still being talked about, still being felt, still influencing, and he knows them more than probably anyone does. Longevity in music doesn't happen by accident. It happens because someone in that studio understood what outlasts trends. And then there's Noel Cadastre. Most people have never heard that name. But if you felt something listening to a Drake record, Noel had a hand in it. He and 40 work as a unit. 2 people, 1 sound. That's not common in this industry. Most production relationships are transactional. What Noah and Noel built with Drake was something different. A genuine creative partnership that gave Drake's music a consistency of feeling that most artists never achieve. And I have to mention Boy Wonder. And he represents something important to Drake, that Drake can go hard. Boy Wonder records show you the aggressive side. Headlines, Heifer, the version of Drake that reminded you he could rap when the soft records made people forget. That range is what made him impossible to pin down. You couldn't reduce him to one sound because he operated convincingly across all of them. And that's why part of the influence was so total. He wasn't just changing one lane. He was changing all of them.
Somebody to like relate to like what you're saying and shit, but is playing beats the same? Like, what do you like? You look like I sound like my boy right now, but I'm just curious. Like, I just mean like,
with like, you know, like sometimes I never know like what you're gonna fuck with, you know, like because all the record, like majority, maybe half of the records that we've done together, I would have never thought you would
really
fuck with. So now I'm at a point where it's just like, bro, I'm just volume shooting, bro. I'm like, yo, I'll just play you whatever, because I make all scales of different type shit, you know. I'll be in a mood one day, I'll make something that sounds totally off from what you fuck with, or like, you know. So I'm just like, whatever, I'm just gonna wholeheartedly just play you everything, and like, you know, whatever you like. And I'm gonna give you access to my whole shit too. And Noel has Fruity Loops. You can open all the zips, all the foolishness, and you can find like whatever. Like I don't care. Like, you know, like people like literally get scared to play shit. I don't care. I'm just like, yo, I just want to find something great and contribute to what we're doing, you know. So
I went back through my project folders recently, and I'm sitting there listening to beats I made years ago. Beats I thought that were my sound, and I hear it. The sad chords, the atmosphere, the space, the samples reaching for something emotional, the kick dropping out and letting the melody carry. That's Take Care production DNA. And I absorbed it without ever consciously deciding to. That's how influence actually works. It's not imitation, it's osmosis. You hear something at enough times at a deeper level, you start to make it part of you. It becomes part of how you hear music, part of what your ears reach for at 2 a.m. in the zone. I wasn't trying to sound like them. I was just listening, absorbing, and it came out in the music. Before that era, I filled every space up. Drums everywhere. On every beat, layers just crazy. Energy just constant. After that era, silence became powerful. Atmosphere became powerful. That shift is permanent. You can't unlearn it once you felt it. And the producers who came up in that window, whether they know it or not, are all working in a framework that Drake, Noah, and Noel helped write. There are producers making beats right now that don't know Drake shaped the way they hear music.
Is he going to take that path? I don't know. It depends what he wants to do with his own life and his own happiness. But I do thoroughly believe that he could be smart enough to navigate that and to make sure that by the time he got there, people weren't like, what the fuck is this guy still doing there? But still like, wow, man, this guy makes great music, and like, fuck it, we love it, keep going. He knows how to do that, and he makes good enough music. And I don't think that you get later in your life and stop learning how to make music, but the question is like, how relevant is it? And Jay-Z can still be relevant at 50. I think we got many, many years to go.
Which brings us to right now. Iceman is about to drop, and I think this matters more than most people realize, because every time Drake puts out a project, producers are listening differently than regular fans. We're not just hearing the words, we're hearing the production decisions, the atmosphere, what he chose to build the records around, what emotional world he decided to operate in for this chapter. Because whatever the world is, it influences what gets made in bedrooms and home studios for the next 2 or 3 years. Noah talked about longevity, and sitting here thinking about Iceman, that's the real question for me. Not is this album good, but does it shift something again? Does it give producers a new emotional world to absorb? Or does it confirm that what was built between Take Care and now was the permanent foundation, and everything after is just different rooms in the same house? Either way, the influence doesn't stop. It changes shape. I started this with a memory. A girl, a car, Drake playing before most people knew who he was. And what I realized making this is that the producers paying attention during that era wasn't just hearing the music. We absorbed a way of thinking about what music was supposed to feel like. Drake changed the emotional architecture of music production. Noah and Noel built the rooms that architecture lives in. And I'm one of those bedroom producers who walked through it without even knowing it, until I went through the vault and heard it everywhere. What Drake song or era first changed how you heard music? Drop it in the comments.
Where do you think this stops?
I don't know if it ever stops.